Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Style Boutique.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, April 24th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Melas.
Playoffs lovers. This one's for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kerby. Hey, yo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. You okay, JD?
No.
What's
I'm
wrong?
Sitting down. I got a sore back.
Pickleball related? Or did
it's possible.
Amen Thompson accidentally undercut you?
Wow.
Too soon?
Too soon.
I felt too soon. The crowd was jeering me there on that one. It's just a joke. Hello to everybody in the stream team joining us on YouTube. Hit the like button. Come on, let's get those likes up. Subscribe if you haven't. Podcast listeners, we love you as well. 5-star ratings and reviews helps other NBA fans find the show. We got some games to talk about. Got some news a little bit later, but let's start with that physical Rockets-Warriors Game 2. Jalen Green scoring 38, helping the Rockets even this series with the 109-94 win over the Warriors. The big story, though, from this was Jimmy Butler getting undercut there on a first-half rebound attempt, and he fell hard on his tailbone. Eventually sent him limping back to the locker room where he would remain for the rest of the night, and he's going to get an MRI today. Back in the Bay Area, we'll wait to see whether he can play in Game 3, but this had an impact, removing Jimmy Butler from the Warriors' offense, and even defensively, maybe being one of those guys that could have slowed down Jalen Green a little bit. What do you think?
Well, good sign is that Jimmy Butler played 2 more possessions after that and then said, I got to get the heck off this floor and get out of there, so we will see what the MRI says. That being said, and why I had to kind of wonder when you said you were undercut by Amen Thompson, this was Steven Adams that caused this injury.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
After watching
what about Draymond?
After watching it a billion times. Yeah, Draymond Green definitely touched Amen Thompson, but I think this happens only because of Steven Adams. This happens regardless whether or not Draymond Green touched him or not, because Steven Adams was going for the offensive rebound. He knew where he was going. He's a monstrous man. He's got a plan. Amen Thompson jumped up into the air. Steven Adams went to his spot, and he just propelled off of Amen Thompson. That 65-pound difference sent Amen Thompson flying. And yeah, Draymond Green touched his arm a little bit. It's kind of like a WWE wrestling thing where a guy is flying across the ring and the guy sort of whips him. I mean, it really, regardless, Steven Adams caused Amen Thompson to go flying into Jimmy Butler's butt. And that's what
guys were fighting for a rebound,
Yes.
and then Amen Thompson trips and then goes crashing under Jimmy Butler. I don't think anyone's to blame. I think they're just trying to go get a board because it's playoff basketball.
But everybody wants to blame Draymond Green.
Oh, I mean, I'm joking about that.
No, a lot of people want to blame Draymond Green because people blame Draymond Green. I got no problem blaming Draymond Green when it's Draymond Green's fault. But in this case,
right.
Steven Adams gives him a shot. It is unfortunate. I do think the Rockets were going to win this game regardless.
They were up.
They were up 7 when Jimmy Butler got hit. They're playing so well at cutting way behind the Golden State Warriors with those baseline cuts. They had 3 dunks and 1 layup in the first 9 minutes of this game. The baseline cuts were awesome. Jalen Green was obviously finding guys. He found Amen Thompson twice, and he started scoring the ball. And you might say, well, Amen Thompson also got into foul trouble in this game. So if he leaves, can the Warriors fight back? Maybe. But this was the Rockets figuring out Warriors team plays up defensively. They lack size, and the Rockets were doing a good job of getting to the baseline.
Yeah, there's internal belief that Jimmy Butler's going to be okay. It's nothing too serious. Again, Game 3 is uncertain, but man, the diagnosis here, identical to recent Warriors injuries that sidelined Curry and Kuminga with these like tailbone injuries or pelvic intrusions or whatever they're called. Curry ended up missing 1 game in the regular season. I guess Kuminga missed a couple.
I thought it was the flip. I thought it was Curry missed 2, Kuminga missed 1, but it is basically a pain tolerance thing. I think it's pelvic contusion, not pelvic intrusion.
Yeah, what did I say?
Pelvic intrusion's a little bit different.
You don't know what I was doing last night.
Open up your Butler. Pelvis is one of the funniest words on the human body.
Yeah.
I mean, name 5 funnier words. You can't do it. Maybe
I'd say
frenulum.
Oh, that's a
I
good
don't
one.
even know that one.
That's the little courage hangy ball in the back of your throat.
Oh.
No, wait, that's the uvula. That's also on the list. My bad. Nonetheless, tough stuff for Jimmy. That looked like it really hurt. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing. Unfortunately for him, he's got to sit on his butt anytime he flies back to the bay, that kind of stuff. Ask the stream team who was at fault for the Jimmy fall. 47% think it's a total accident. 36% of the blame goes to Draymond Green, and then 16% goes to Amen Thompson, is what the stream team says. Definitely Warriors fans thought it was Amen Thompson's fault because he's got a little bit of a reputation here. He had a hard fall on Giannis. He's kind of been a little reckless, more so above the shoulders, I think, on some plays this year because he plays so hard defensively. But I'm with you guys. I think it was an accident. There's a lot of bodies flying around in the lane, and that's kind of, somebody's going to get hurt when the referees let the game play out the way they've let this series play out so far. It's super rough inside. When Steven Adams is in, it's going to be even rougher inside. They got their biggest guys out there in Looney as well, so a body went flying. Unfortunately, it was so poorly timed that Jimmy got taken out of the air, and man, the fall looked totally nasty, but the Warriors are in trouble if Jimmy can't play. I mean, I don't think they'll win a game that Jimmy isn't healthy for, unless Steph goes for 45, 50 points.
Right, but you see, I mean, they start to look like the Warriors of old, like the pre-Jimmy Butler Warriors when they were struggling.
Yes,
and everybody was
exactly.
saying, man, they got to do something. They got to get Curry some help here, because then you see the Rockets game plan and Udoka, how they want to take Steph Curry out of the game and obviously get physical with them. Curry only attempted 8 shots in the first half, 15 for the game total. Finished with as many turnovers as he did field goals made. And I want to give kudos to Jalen Green defensively. I thought he was really good in this game. You know, he had the 38 points and the 8 threes, and that gets all the headlines, but he feels like one of these players, and we all know them, right? Either in high school, if you played at the college level, even pickup basketball. There are these guys that, like, when their offensive game is going and they're hitting shots, they play a little harder defensively and they give a little more effort, and like some they just pair together a little bit better. And I thought that sort of translated here in this game too, because he was awesome on both ends. He had a couple jump balls he forced. He was active, moving his feet and stuff like that. So good game from him on both sides.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Go ahead.
Well, I would say the Warriors were going to lose this game because their third best player, Brandon Podziemski, was also not healthy. He was definitely sick in this game. His first 3 chucks were chucks. I mean, he threw a mid-range shot off the backboard. He had some sort of food poisoning, and he was 0 in this game. They needed somebody to come out, and so, yeah, here comes Jonathan Kuminga, who hasn't played in a long time. But you got to come out and solve it. So
come on out of the doghouse, Kuminga.
He wasn't expecting to play.
No,
he
not at all.
was not ready to play. You could tell. Pat Spencer checked in at the exact same time. Pat Spencer played better than Jonathan Kuminga did. Kuminga came in smiling and laughing, went 11 points, 4 of 12 from the field. He only got credit for 1 turnover. It should have been like 6 or 7. The guy could not catch the ball, couldn't rebound. Like, these are the problems with Kuminga. They ran a lineup out there after Jimmy went down with his injury. It was a lineup of Moody, Podziemski, who was hurting or was feeling sick, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos, and Kevon Looney. And you're like, literally, who's going to score for this team? They have to put in Kuminga. Kuminga goes to the scorer's table right away. This is a big opportunity for him to get out of the doghouse, do the little things, show some effort. And he was a complete dud. So now it's like they need him again in Game 3 because Curry can't play 48 minutes. They're going to need some sort of offense, but how can Steve Kerr have any confidence that this guy's going to do anything to help them win a game?
Yeah, I thought it was a little odd that Moses Moody was having his best game in a while, and Steve Kerr pulled him. He only played him 15 seconds in the second quarter after he had a 7-point first quarter. He looked good, and it's Moses Moody that I'm bringing up because, as you said, when you look down at the list, Pat Spencer, sure, play him. Guy Santos was not playing well. I mean, you got to play who you got. And Moses Moody was balling. Yeah. And so I was a little surprised that he said, get the heck out of here. But Butler's got... I'm just trying to be positive. We'll see how many games Butler misses. Maybe it's just 1. Maybe it's 0.
Yeah. I mean, they have a couple days
rest,
off here, yeah, for sure. And you see what the MRI says. And they do have some experience, again, with these sort of tailbone issues. As for the Rockets, though, not only Green obviously contributing, Şengün was great. 17 points, 16 boards, 7 assists. Tari Eason, I thought, was a nice spark off the bench. Awesome. He had 14 points. Then he had a weird decision to throw a towel later in the game, though he did nail Did he nail Spencer? Was it Spencer that got the towel to the face perfectly?
Could have been.
I mean, you're like, okay, you don't really need to do that. But anyway, I thought he was great when he was on the floor, and if you remove the towel part of the equation. So they just got enough, and yeah, maybe they would have, I don't know, like you're saying they probably would have won this game regardless. I think it completely changes the game when Jimmy Butler, we saw what he did in game 1. We know what he's capable of doing. I think it's more competitive. Because again, they suddenly become the old Warriors that were floundering for months when you take them out. So.
Yeah, to me, this is just me sitting here and saying, well, the Rockets lost game 1. Game 2, they played an entirely different game. They weren't going to go to Golden State down 2-0. And
their season was on the line, so to speak, last night.
It was a must-win game.
Yeah.
It was the first must-win game of the playoffs, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
The first must-win game of the playoffs, I would say.
You can't go down 0-2 at home.
Oh, absolutely not. I would say, the Rockets just did a better job of using those baseline cuts, being smarter. They were extremely physical, and so I think Game 3 will be different. I think the referees are going to call it a tighter game. They are going to get a memo. Be tight. Call fouls right away, because there could have been so many fights in this. Yeah. And if Scott Foster was available, I think he's injured right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a sub yesterday, right? Like he was a game time decision and they pulled him. I think, but I'm with you. I think that it's going to be a great whistle for Steph Curry in game 3 because I mean, you saw the play where Brian Anderson called a foul. Steph hit a 3, had Fred VanVleet's arm wrapped around his waist as he shot it. He's like, no, actually not a foul. That just was good.
And then Stan Van's like, it was a foul.
No, that was a foul. David Guthrie just didn't call it. Yeah. And that's completely what was happening. They get away with a lot guarding Steph Curry. Like, if they called a foul for every time this guy got fouled, the Rockets would not be able to finish the game with players. Sure. So he's going to go to the free throw line 15 times, I imagine, in game 3. Yeah,
Fred VanVleet had his arm around Curry's waist before the inbound, as we often see, but that was like a hug. I mean, you could have called a foul just like that. Yes. They weren't moving. Mm-hmm. You literally could have called a foul a ton of times, and they will.
Well, no matter who's in there for the Warriors, like they're going to have to do a better job rebounding the ball. We thought this was going to be an issue for them heading into the series. 47-33 rebounding advantage for the Rockets last night. I think they're plus 33 in the rebound department through 2 games now. So that, they're just going to have to do a better job. And I would like to give you a point in the instigator draft there, TK. Draymond Green got you a technical.
Yeah, should have been more.
Yeah.
Should have been more. They didn't give him a double tech at the end because he had the technical earlier, but it should have been a double tech and an ejection, I do believe.
But
you'll get another one, though, on Thursday. I ain't worried.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
First half are coming.
Yeah, even earlier, he grabbed Dylan Brooks' neck and kind of threw him to the ground. No foul.
Yeah.
And so this was a strange one. This was a strange game. But yes, as we're seeing here, the instigator draft points. Triple D, which is Trey's team name, Draymond Doncic and Darius Garland. They have 1. I still have 1. My team of Isaiah Stewart, Jason Tatum, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who
nearly got another one last night.
Yeah, a little trippy.
But someone on the stream team called them the Potatum Stew. Tatum Stew. That's from Thurbab on YouTube. Anyway, Skeets. You got a Zippo right now. Dylan Brooks, Anthony Edwards, and Lou Dort. Surprised that Dylan Brooks hasn't got one.
I thought Dylan, he was in the mix in a couple of these little things. Could have picked up a ticky-tack one. He'll get one.
He had a stupid foul. His third foul, and this would be a point for the Golden State Warriors' chance at winning. Third foul, early second quarter, when he hit a hard shot in Draymond Green's face. So what is he going to do? Well, he's got to hit Draymond Green on the way back up the floor. For what reason? Just to say, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Because he did have a couple good shots.
Oh, yeah. He had some tough, turnaround fadeaway jumpers.
Solid, for sure.
Like a couple of them he hit. But you're right. That one, he thought there was contact. He felt good about it. So I got to tell Draymond right to his face. And didn't get assessed anything from the refs. But,
so we got a good race here. We got a good race in the instigator draft.
So what's my team name? I got 2 Canadians and an ant.
Yeah, right. I mean, I just
Canadian ants.
I copied.
We the North should be your team name.
Okay.
2 Canadians and then the farthest north.
That's good.
In the Minnesota
with Anthony
Timberwolves.
Edwards. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
That's better than mine.
We'll go with that. One fun moment from this game is, it was a bit of a slog because it's physical and there's a lot of fouls and nothing easy. But at the end of the first half, when they went bonkers trading 3-point shots, I saw Worldwide Wob shared sort of the play-by-play breakdown. It was Şengün makes a 3 from up top. Then it was Buddy Hield makes a 3 on the right wing. Then it was VanVleet makes a 3 from up top. Then it's Steph Curry makes a 3 from the left wing. Then it's Jalen Green makes a 3 from the right wing. And then Steph Curry makes a 3 from up top. That happened in about a span of a minute of game time. It was back and forth there for a good 60 seconds, which got them some points.
6 threes in a minute, beautiful basketball, and then the next shot after that was Şengün catches the ball in the middle of the lane and somehow has a ton of space around him, and he shoots a flat-footed floater from like 10 feet. It was like the most beautiful 6 shots you've ever seen, and then a guy who looks like a duck shooting a floater in the lane. It looked hilarious. So I was like, oh, this is the same sport, allegedly. That was great. Şengün was awesome, though, in this one. He had the double spin move on Pat Spencer, and then Quentin Post inside. Post had a nice game, shot it well from 4 threes, I believe. They need that more from him. And then Jalen Green, like, we talked about an awesome game. Took 18 threes, and I think Jalen Green, as soon as he makes one shot, he's like, heat check. I'm shooting it next time I get it, no matter what. He was much better in this game, super aggressive. He seemed to actually have a plan for what he wanted to do, and he realized there ain't any rim defenders out there right now, so I can get to the hoop. He was good.
Yeah, that felt like the best Jalen Green distribution game I've seen, where he's just ready in the lane to find whoever was cutting. Because the baseline cuts to Amen Thompson. Again, 2 extremely early. 6 assists for him. He felt like the mind was in the right place for Jalen Green in this game to both set up guys and score like a machine and play defense. This was an incredible game for him.
After a garbage game 1, where even he admitted, he gave us the Jared Allen quote, basically. The lights were too bright, or I wasn't, expecting how bright they would be in game 1, and sort of got into that playoff rhythm and had it as like one of his best games of the season. This is an incredible game. You're right, 18 3-pointer attempts. Here's where we're at in today's game. I didn't even blink at that, which is insane. That's a lot of 3-point attempts for a guy that's not, let's be honest, he's not Steph Curry from 3. It feels like only like a handful of guys should ever be taking that many, but that's where we're at.
It's a lot.
Like there weren't many that were like, what are you doing? Like, it was sort of in the rhythm of the game. It's just, wow, that's a lot. But is it? It's not anymore. It feels like.
That's still a lot. That's a lot, man.
But okay, I guess it is. But how many times throughout the playoffs, the rest of the playoffs, will a guy attempt more than 18 3-pointers?
Great question. My guess is 0.
Oh, I'll take the over.
What do you
think?
think?
The line's at a half.
Okay, let's see here.
Somebody.
Most 3-point field goal attempts in a playoff game. I gotta load my stat.
Gotta load. I will say, while you load the stat,
it was Rockets history or tied Rockets.
Okay, so 10 times a guy has taken 18 or more threes. 1 time ever a guy has taken more than 18 threes.
Okay, so it's a ton.
Westbrook took 19.
JR
You would guess that's the guy.
Wow. J.R. Smith never took it?
Not in the playoffs.
No, not in the playoffs. Okay.
Wow.
All right, well, I guess it is a lot.
I thought about 12 of them were good.
Okay.
For Jalen.
You'll
Green.
live with that.
Yeah, I guess with a starting lineup where you have 2 guys that ain't shooting threes, and Amen Thompson and Steven Adams,
True.
somebody's got to shoot them.
True.
This kind of it rubs out the fact that Fred VanVleet had a bad shooting night again, and so you don't really notice that just because he's been quiet. He just hasn't been feeling it, Fred.
As you said, he needs pelvic intrusion. He needs to get a son going again or another child.
Oh, wow! What a reverse order.
Yeah, what a callback.
Well, he gets his pelvis intruded and has a baby. Interesting.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on that game? Rockets tying up the series, and we'll see again Jimmy Butler status. And I guess Podziemski should be better after he gets the poops out.
You think that's what it was? Because he disappeared for a while, but then came back
so.
and played a little bit more.
I don't think when you
bad.
can't play because of a stomach ailment, it's not because my stomach is just sore. It's because I gotta be on the can because I'm gonna crap my pants.
Okay, I guess.
I think
I was saying maybe it was a mouth extrusion. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know which end it's coming out.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. Buddy Hield, I'm seeing here, according to the stacks, is 3 for 8 from the field in these 2 games. I don't think he's actually made a shot in the playoffs ever in his life.
It's been quiet. Yeah,
you would not believe that this guy's like a top 10 all-time 3-point makes guy.
That's true.
It feels like a dice roll every time he shoots it in a postseason game.
Yeah.
They would like to see him actually make some, I think. Though allegedly he did last night.
It's 3-pointer.
Did he make it?
I don't remember.
That's what it says.
Oh, wow.
That's what it says here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember it.
It says he made 1.
It says he made 1.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Baby steps. Anything else, Tass, on that one?
No, that's
All right.
it.
Well, let's go from Jalen Green to Jaylen Brown. He scored 36. Celtics beat the Magic 109-100. No Tatum. No problem. Boston is up 2-0. I think whether Tatum plays or not, Trey, we've seen Jaylen Brown have these games where he attacks early and he attacks often. That was the case in this one, and he finished with the 36, like I said, 10 boards, 5 assists. And, pretty strong performance and promising given that he had the concerns about his knee. He was awesome, and he was locked in.
Yeah, 42 minutes and still had enough juice in the fourth quarter to hit 3 big-time baskets, including one that Ian Eagle called the Ephus because he shot it so high that he tickled the clouds on that one. But yeah, don't forget Jaylen Brown is a Finals MVP. I thought the offense for the Celtics didn't look as smooth as it can when Tatum is the guy kind of leading their drive and kick attack. You look at game 1. 22 assists on 37 makes for the Celtics. Last night, just 17 assists on 36 makes. The ball definitely wasn't moving the way it does when Tatum is kind of their point forward kind of guy, but they got it done. And even if their offense doesn't look like the best offense in the league, it's going to look better than the Orlando Magic offense. So great stuff from Jaylen Brown. I thought it's nice to be able to have a guy who can score 30 points a game when your leading scorer goes out.
Yeah, I know. Jeez, you're right. You're like, oh yeah, we have debates whether this guy might be better than Jason Tatum. I don't think he is overall, but Jesus, he has these performances. He knows how to level up. I think you're always in for a long night when Jaylen Brown is finishing at the rim with like out using the backboard. This guy loves to just flip it in from like side little angles. Most people are going off the glass. He's like, no, I'll just flip it from a little side here, a little drop in. Yeah. Oh my God, he had that going in addition to the 3-pointers that he was feeling confident about as well.
Well, he did say because of the injury, he learned the game a little bit differently, and he learned that he's very skilled. So those back-to-back buckets with a few minutes left, when he took Franz Wagner, a bigger defender, right into the post, and he showed, oh yeah, I can just take a guy into a post and shoot over him. And that Ephus over Paolo Banchero, that was, oh yeah, I'm extremely skilled and talented from the mid-range. I can do this in a different way. I mean, he took the monstrous Paolo Banchero into the mid-range and shot it to the moon. So he's got a multi-talents for that guy to be able to do that. And on the defensive end, like that rip of Corey Joseph flashed me back to the finals last year when he did it to Luka. Like, obviously, Corey, a much smaller player, but he's able to body guys defensively. He could do it on both sides. So very similar to game 1. Yeah, the Celtics didn't have the ball moving all that much, but in the third quarter, they know how to turn it on. It was a 1-point game in game 1 into the third quarter. It was a 1-point game in game 2 into the third quarter, and they just rip off these runs. 7-0 in game 2, 11-0 in game 3, and 7-0 in game 1, 11-0 in game 2. And that's it. That's it. They didn't look back after that.
Tatum had not missed a playoff game in 8 seasons with Boston. And the last time Brown had not played with him in a playoff game, again, with Tatum, 2017. You got to go back to Game 5, which was a loss to LeBron's Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. You guys want to hit me with the Celtics starting lineup in that Game 5 loss to the 17 LeBron Cavs?
They said it in. They said it in the game.
Yeah, you can easily get this.
No, yeah, they said it in the game.
Jaylen Brown coming off the bench at that point
Horford?
of his career. That's right, Al Horford.
Al Horford is one
of your big guys.
Isaiah Thomas?
No, not in that game.
Kyrie Irving?
No.
Okay, so this is the year after. I forget what year he was traded.
I heard them.
Marcus Smart.
There you go.
What are we at? Marcus Smart. Horford. Tatum.
No, I'm saying this is
How's pre-Tatum?
Pre-Tatum.
Oh, this is even pre-Tatum. Okay, because he hasn't missed a game. Who else would have been around there? Gordon Hayward? No, he was hurt. No. Who else? Who else was even around this?
There's one guy, Canadian. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah,
another big guy.
Big guy. He'll rip your shoulder out if he needs to.
Oh, Kelly.
Yeah. Kelly.
KO.
Yeah, and then your like guard forwards.
Kemba?
No. This guy. These guys never won any sort of accolades, but were around for a long time. One, for. I was gonna say he has his last name rhymes with a popular Boston dish.
Beans. Kendrick Jeans. Carl Jobster.
No, Jay Crowder.
That's good.
I thought it was a good hit.
Boston Clam Crowder.
And then the other guy.
Austin Rivers.
No, Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley. Very Bradley. 2 all-defensive
teams. I guess those were some accolades.
Wow.
Anyway, it was a long time was the whole point of that. Yeah. And first time, forever, Jalen hadn't played with Jason Tatum in a playoff game. Sort of wild to think.
Yeah.
Tatum hadn't missed one. It's crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't miss games.
No,
he does not miss
He really doesn't miss games, so he must have been quite sore. And I think they play Friday is their next game. Is that right?
I don't know.
I think so. I think that's what I said.
think
if
so.
he sat out, that he would get to rest until Friday. So maybe he'll play game 3, or maybe they're just like, whatever, man.
Yeah, that's
Come back when you're 100%. It is his shooting risk.
yes, right.
He's gonna need
it's
it.
something you could, yeah, of course, re-aggravate and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, we feel confident we can take care of the Magic with or without you.
Wait a second, though. I thought Jason Tatum was a Celtics legend. I've heard tale of Larry Bird playing left-handed when he had an injured right wrist.
That would have been cool. Wow.
Step your game up, Jason.
Yeah.
It is a shame, though, because Banchero and Franz Wagner were awesome.
Yeah,
But
they played good.
they absolutely need a third guy, and it just ain't happening. Wendell Carter Jr., he tried. Anthony Black, he tried. I mean, Carter Jr. was 16. That's the most you're going to get from him, most likely. But Franz Wagner to score over Kristaps Porzingis over and over and over again was pretty cool. A giant, able to post him up and drive past them. He got a nice throw down. Banchero doing the same, dunked over Porzingis, spun on Cornet. Some good stuff from those two, but it's the Boston Celtics.
They were awesome. The problem is that they have those two guys. 57 combined from Paolo and Franz. Like you're saying, Wendell Carter chipped in, 16 points, had 8 rebounds. They only turned the ball over 7 times. Held the Celtics to 12 threes on 33%. All of that is great. They barely scored 100 points and never led in the second half.
Right.
It's over. I mean, maybe they'll win one if the Celtics shoot 5% from 3. But, I mean, this Magic team needs better offense.
They
do.
need to play like such a perfect game to even like have a chance to beat this Boston Celtics team. And what I mean by that is, like, by my count, in the first half alone, they were just failing to capitalize on fast break opportunities that should have been easy buckets. And they need every easy bucket they can get, as we've talked about, because they struggle to score. They missed 3 layups that they should have had in fast break opportunities, and then 2 wide open corner threes, which of course they just struggled to shoot the 3 ball. That's, add that up. That's 10 points right there. Excuse me, that's 12 points right there that they should have had in fast break opportunities that their sort of defense got them running in transition, but they couldn't. And then they missed a million free throws as well. I think they went 15 of 24 at the line too, so they're leaving a bunch of points there. They need all those to have any chance to even upset this team without Tatum playing. And despite Paolo and Franz looking great at times, those guys, though, they've yet to win a road game in the playoffs. They're 0 for 6 now because they lost, obviously, to the Cavs in that 7-game series, and that was one of those series where the home team won every game. They had the heartbreaking loss in Game 7, and now that's 2 straight now in Boston. Like, that'll be the next step for this team to level up, and it will help if they get a point guard.
Let me go Nico Harrison on you. You're looking at it from a negative perspective. I'm looking at it from a positive perspective. Undefeated at home in the playoffs.
Okay, good. Problem is you don't have home court advantage.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In either of these series, last year or this year.
Yeah, the Orlando Cavs
Hey,
were round
defense
1.
wins championships.
Yeah, nice Nico.
He should be the Mavericks or the Magic GM. Sure.
Shout out to another GM. Calvin Booth gave up on Contavious Caldwell-Pope in Denver. Seems like a good move.
Right?
Yeah, it seems like a good move
he
just
is
betting on Christian
struggling.
Brown. It's just been a bad season and bad night shooting the ball. They just need somebody to splash some threes. KCP could not do that. He was 0 for in this one. He did hit 2 in the first game, but yeah, he just can't hit them right now.
And I can't believe we haven't talked about it yet. Late in the third quarter, Kristaps Porzingis go into the locker room with a gash to the forehead. He would return to shoot some free throws. We'll show everybody here on YouTube, man. Goga, just clocked him. Again, he's getting tangled up, and he's pulling on him. Porzingis included pulling on him, and then his elbow just comes through and nails him on the forehead. And that blood just started streaming down his skull. Just looks sort of awesome. I think he was having the time of his life.
Oh, bad, yeah.
Porzingis was. Like, again, here's the big first bandage and the dry blood, and they let him shoot free throws, which was so funny to me because they're so anal about anyone ever having blood out there. But they're like, all right, I guess it's dried enough at this point after all the reviews they looked at. Like, all right, just come shoot him. You're going to check right back out. He went, he got 5 stitches, came back out with a little bit of a smaller bandage.
Right.
But he was loving this. The crowd was going bonkers. He was smiling with it. Like, I think he wanted the battle scar, I guess.
You never get a slow-mo of blood streaming down a skull in basketball. But they're going to the end of the quarter, and they're showing that little montage, and they show Kristaps' blood streaming down his shaved blonde head, which makes it very evident of what's happening there. So it looked awesome. It did look awesome in a crazy way.
Yeah, they put that bandage on his face. The first one was the biggest bandage I've ever seen. That's why he was laughing so much. They call him the unicorn. It looked like he had his horn poached.
That's what people were saying.
For
I
him.
like that.
I thought that was a pretty funny moment. I also loved late in the game, Jaylen Brown actually misses a jumper. Al Horford follows it up with a putback. Ian Eagle, clean up on aisle 42. A little bit of a pause, and then Grant Hill's like, that's a lot of aisles.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a big store. That was so good.
And we did have tempers flaring between Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Al Horford. They got their feet tangled up there, and both guys crashed to the floor. I think that was in the second quarter, and then sort of Brown stepped in to exchange words with KCP. Referees reviewed the play, and they determined, you won't believe this, just a common tripping foul on KCP. But for a second there, it looked like you were going to pick up another potential point there in the instigator draft with KCP. He's already got you one.
Yeah, nobody's got Goga Bitadze in their draft.
No.
He got a flagrant for that one to Kristaps' head. You said there's a lot of aisles in the store. I like when there's just aisles or numbered of big aisles, like long aisles. I hate when little short aisles are numbered.
You'd rather have like 10 aisles that go
Super
deep
long.
rather than 30 aisles that are
Yeah, there's depending on
Interesting, because that can be a pain
manageable.
in the ass too if you're going in for like a, just to pick up 8 things, because then you got to go like deep into some of these aisles.
Yeah, but I like the aisles can be labeled better, easier than these little teeny tiny aisles. There's some department stores that say, "Oh, this is aisle 42." That's like 4 feet long.
I
It's
see what
not
you're
long.
saying.
Yeah.
But are you a
They
fan
just
of
have to-
Trader Joe's? Now that's like a smaller store,
That's super
but small aisles.
low number of aisles, yeah.
The
Oh, I
problem with
like
that-
but I just don't want numbers.
Oh.
What I'm complaining about is the numbers. I don't like numbers. I'd rather not look for lane 42. That's like
You know what numbers?
yeah, for these tiny aisles, for these tiny little aisles, it's impossible. They don't know what they're doing.
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think if there were no numbers and you were like, "Hey, where's the spices?" I don't even know what they would tell you.
I think
They'd be
it's
like,
clear.
just where the spices are.
They go right at the beef jerky.
Back left. It's more clear. It's more clear. It's more clear than these dumb
I can't
numbers.
stand Trader Joe's because I don't think they're wide enough.
No, they're
and
not.
Trader Joe's are quite popular, and like there are aisles like I go, nope. I guess we're not eating. We're not eating whatever's down there.
Too many people in
I
there.
hate it. Because I get impatient. I'm like, what are you doing? Get your cart out of the
Gets
way.
crowded, yeah.
People aren't aware of their surroundings enough for my liking. So I no, we're not eating that aisle. Just cross it right off the list.
Sorry, we're not getting chili spiced mango this time.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Celtics Magic? Do you believe the Magic can continue their hot streak at home in the playoffs and win a game or two? Or is this one screaming sweep here, as some of these Eastern Conference series might be?
It looks like a sweep. Last year against the Cleveland Cavaliers in round 1 is where Orlando was great at home. But that's a different team. Cleveland was a different team then, and Boston's a very, very different team. I think it's over.
I still got hope. I got hope they take one here in Orlando. The other game last night, Donovan Mitchell scored 30. Cavs held off the Heat to take the 2-0 series lead. He delivered down the stretch, TK. Cavs were up 19 in the third quarter. They were up 13 at the start of the fourth, but the Heat rallied, and it was a one-possession game. I think it was 105-103 with about 3:11 left, and that is when Donovan Mitchell got to work, snaked around a high pick and roll, sort of got to his spot on the baseline, hit a little fadeaway jumper, and then the next possession, he just sized up Jovic. He's like, everybody get out of the way. Get out of the way. I'm just going to walk into this three. He banged that home on the wing, and then the next one he used a pick up top. Poorly sort of played, I thought, by Hero and Davion Mitchell, how they were switching, where they weren't switching, and then he hit another three, and that was enough breathing room.
Yeah, pretty sweet for Donovan Mitchell because he got subbed out in the middle of the fourth quarter, just an unusual substitution pattern, and the Heat were chipping into the lead. They played pretty solid, I thought, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but then, yeah, like you mentioned, Mitchell checks in, last 4 minutes and 25 seconds, 10 points on 4 jump shots in plus 7. It's just awesome. Post-game, Darius Garland said the game plan for the Cavs, pick on Tyler Hero. And it's worked twice so far. We saw Ty Jerome had 50 points in the fourth quarter of a game. Tracking data last night, I don't know how this can possibly be accurate. It says the Cavs scored 27 points on Tyler Hero as the primary defender. Believable enough to me.
Yeah.
Okay? 27 points is a normal number. But it also said that the Cavs were able to generate 93 team points on plays where Tyler Hero was involved as the primary defender. And I'm like, that's an absurd number. But also, maybe that's the number, because they were just, anytime he was part of the zone that the Heat were trying, or involved in a pick and roll, or they'll set a down screen for whoever he's guarding, easy shots. Now, look, on the other end, it's not like the Cavs are doing a great job of guarding Hero either. It's kind of going both ways, but unfortunately, the Cavs have a lot more offense than the Miami Heat do, because the Heat have been right there in both of these games, but they're a bad fourth quarter team, and now we got Jovic playing in the fourth quarters over Andrew Wiggins. What was that all about?
Yeah.
Guy couldn't make a shot, 1 for 8 from 3. You're trying to score.
Yep. I'm glad you brought up the Hero part where they're putting him in action. We got a good chart here, JD, if you want to pull it up, from Owen Phillips, at the F5 Substacks, which does a great job with especially charts and breaking down the games in the series. Here's a list of players that have faced the most pick and rolls as the screener defender in this year's playoffs. And as he wrote, do you notice anything a little odd from this list we're showing you on YouTube? Tyler Hero is the only non-center on the list. Again, this is the screener defender, and that's what Cleveland was doing, just targeting him, putting Hero in as many pick and rolls as they can, because, as Garland just straight up said after, we're picking on the Miami's weakest defender. We want him in all this stuff. And you saw Cleveland use a combination. Max Strus, Sam Merrill, they would set screens for Mitchell and Garland because that's who Tyler Hero is, defending, and that gets him in the action, and then he gets cooked. 1.2 points per direct pick, I guess, last night. So all these numbers are backing up. Hero scoring, but man, they are just putting him and sort of exposing him on that end.
I don't think it really mattered when it came to Donovan Mitchell in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was a monster, and so they used Max Strus as sort of a dribble ball handoff guy once, and he just flew around it and flew into the mid-range and was able to just put the brakes on like crazy and rise and hit. He looked like superstar Mitchell for a quarter there. It looked like he could take over. Darius Garland was their clutch guy this season. He was really, really good this season, but it feels like Mitchell will take over more of those opportunities like he did yesterday. They just gave him the ball. He made a lot of threes in that fourth quarter. 6 shots, 4 of them were threes, so 4 is 17 points. But it feels like just give him, let him cook. And if you have him going on some sort of downhill towards the rim, he'll find a spot where he will rise and hit a shot.
Cavs set an NBA playoff record with 11 three-pointers in the second quarter. They finished 22 of 45 from deep, tied for 6th most in a playoff game. I watched this one this morning, and I felt like every time in that second quarter that I was like taking a sip of coffee, like another Cavaliers 3 was going down. It was Mobley up top, Hunter on the wing, Sam Merrill in transition, Mitchell pull up, and then you had the one where Donovan Mitchell threw the sort of like, that little fastball ahead to Strus, bang, another 3. Like I could not keep up every time I was taking a sip of the coffee. That was just non-stop, that barrage.
It was an awesome matchup. It was Haywood Highsmith versus DeAndre Hunter and Sam Merrill for a little bit. I mean, Haywood Highsmith performed in this game, hit 5 threes off the bench. I mean, that part of it was super fun. I think they were trying Nikola Jovic in this game because he did start off well, but then he got cold. They were looking for anybody. Wiggins just was not feeling it. They needed somebody, and Jovic didn't play in game 1. He played a tiny bit, but he, as a +2, they needed him in game 2. They got some performances, as I said. To get 5 threes for Haywood Highsmith and Hero's numbers, and Davion Mitchell again, feeling it again. But unfortunately, when you play a Cleveland Cavaliers team that just keeps bombing threes, 18 in game 1, 22 in game 2, that's impossible to beat.
Miami made 16 threes and they got outshot badly.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I was the only thing I was wishing from this game. We talked about Jalen Green, 38 in the win for the Rockets. We had Jaylen Brown, 36 in the win for the Celtics. How great would it have been if Jalen Tyson had like 25 off the bench for the Cavs last night?
Good, man.
The thumbnail would have just wrote
man.
itself, man. Just would have wrote itself. 3 Jalen's on one night of the playoffs. But he didn't even see the court. Because Miami, they got back into it. I couldn't believe they made this a game when I was watching. I knew what happened, obviously the final score, but I was like, oh my God, they're getting destroyed here with these threes. And I was like, how is this a close game down the stretch? Why do they need Donovan Mitchell to take over? So, credit to them for fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And not giving up and making it a one-possession game there late. Any other thoughts?
Well, the Cavs played Sam Merrill, Isaac Okoro, and a center at the start of the fourth quarter, and the Heat just went zone and said, Sam Merrill, you're a standstill shooter. You're easy to guard. Okoro, shoot it if you want to. Mobley and Allen, like maybe you'll get the ball inside, but it was just stagnant offense. And the Heat were able to strangle it out of them and then make their threes on the other end, I thought was what happened. So I think you cut those 8th and 9th men out of the rotation.
Sure.
If it gets down to it, you're fine.
Fair enough.
The other thing I like from this down, Kenny Atkinson had a stare down challenge. 39 seconds left. Tyler Hero griffed some free throws. I think it was Jared Allen on the foul call. You see Kenny Atkinson watching on the board, then just stares at the ref.
Yeah.
The sassiest review of all time. That was awesome. And he won it.
Yeah.
He was right.
That's a great
so
gif.
funny.
It's so good.
He's got the best facial reactions of a coach. He gets super angry with his face. Like when he's talking to a referee and he doesn't believe what the referee is saying, it's just like his jaw drops out of his face. He's great. Great reactions by Kenny Atkinson.
All right, so let's move from last night's games to some news from the last 24 hours. And we'll start with another award. The Knicks Jalen Brunson officially wins the NBA's Clutch Player of the Year award. He got 70 first-place votes out of 100. Jokic came in second with 26 first-place votes. And then Anthony Edwards was a distant third. This was, I guess, a two-man race, but Brunson obviously getting a majority of these. He averaged an NBA-high 5.6 points in clutch situations, Brunson did, which are defined as possessions in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime when the score is within 5 points. And so in those instances, he also led the league in field goals made, and he ranked second in total points and third in total assists, and he had incredible efficiency numbers in the clutch, with 51% from the field, 84% at the line.
Just 29% from three, though. That's not efficient.
No.
They left that number out of three.
Well, yeah.
But he was incredibly. The number that sticks out and what the voters just do is most points in clutch situations. I think that's who goes.
Well, Anthony Edwards had more.
No, he didn't.
I thought he had 150. I thought he had
total, I guess. Yeah, because Jalen Brunson.
No, but it's funny you say that because
missed a few games.
When De'Aaron Fox won it, he had the most total points in the clutch. When Steph Curry won it, he had the most total points in the clutch. And then, I saw some Wolves fans going, "Hey, what's going on here? Why isn't Ant getting it? Because he had the most total." But
man, you gotta look into the stats for that.
That's all this award is.
I know.
It's a
how many he had? You know how many more points Edwards
One.
had than Brunson? One.
Yeah.
157.
Probably
156.
in way more minutes, maybe, or
They
more.
played 42
played way
clutch
more
games
games.
to 28 for the Knicks.
Because Brunson got hurt.
Yeah.
Brunson was hurt. Jalen Brunson had 5.6 points per game, points per clutch situation game.
Yeah.
5.6 versus 3.7 for Anthony Edwards. That is a drastic number if you're looking at the numbers. Do you know who had the second most in terms of clutch points per game? This is shocking. It is shocking. And in terms of guys who actually played some games, there's a Ray J. Dennis and a Johnny Furphy in there. But of guys who
Must have been
actually
a big game for the Pacers.
yeah, both of them, yeah. But somebody you wouldn't expect. Not in 24-25 anyway.
Okay, so an older guy?
No.
Oh.
I didn't say 24-25 for that reason.
Kobe White.
I said 24-25, not Kobe White.
The team is
good.
bad,
Yeah,
maybe?
the team's bad.
The
Yeah.
team is bad. Like a jazz player or something like that?
No. They were supposed to be good.
Maxey?
Yeah, Maxey.
Oh.
Nearly 5 points per game. So it's more than Jokic and more than Edwards. We actually have voters for this award, but they just have to look at the stats.
Well, that's why it's a stupid award. I mean, it's fine, but it
Sounds like they did a good job.
They did.
didn't just pick the guy with the most points.
Yeah, Brunson was the
went
guy.
deep.
They don't get the guy with the most points per game and the highest usage rate. How could it not be Brunson?
Yeah, that's right. That's the right pick. I'm glad Darius Garland got a point because I've thought of him as a potential guy for a long time, but his numbers did drop off a little bit. But he was great. He was super efficient until late in the season.
When will a big guy win the Clutch Player of the Year award?
It could have been Jokic this year.
It could have been.
He was awesome.
But you know what's a problem?
Yeah.
A problem that they have to face, though, is all these free throws late in close games where you're going to wrap up a guy because you're trying to get the ball back. You're generally going to give it to your guards, who are obviously better free throw shooters, be it Curry's or Brunson's or even Maxey's or stuff like that. So it will be tough. But, yeah, he's been pretty dominant. You're right, Jokic.
Yeah, finished
Maybe
second.
he'll get it.
I mean, he does a ton too. I think his usage rate actually gets hurt because he passes the ball more than Brunson does. Brunson wants to get into a mid-range and shoot a jumper or get fouled. Jokic wants to make the right play. Yeah. So unfortunately for him, stats-wise, sometimes that leads to a hockey assist rather than a regular assist, which takes his usage rate and assist to turnover and all that stuff down.
I guess I'll never win it because if there was any year, it was this year when the Denver Nuggets didn't have a lot of help. I mean, it had to be. Everything was on Jokic. Yeah. So maybe he'll never win it.
It'll be tough. It'll be tougher for a big guy, but we'll see. We'll see how long this war lasts. It's here to stay, but yeah, it is sort of like, well, just pull up the stats on NBA.com and I guess decide between 2 or 3 guys. And, I think you're helped if you have a game winner or 2 under your belt. I think that they want the highlights to also like sort of splash with this stuff. But Brunson, a deserving winner. He's obviously huge in the clutch.
And I went into the advanced numbers for efficiency because I wondered, 29% from 3, that ain't good. But the true shooting percentage, very nice. Very nice, 63.4.
Free throws, baby.
Free throws and just 2-point range, I think. He don't miss from 2-point range.
Other news here, we can move quickly through these, I think. ESPN reporting that the Pelicans are hiring Wizards' Troy Weaver as VP of Basketball Operations. Senior VP, I guess, of Basketball Ops. He will report to new Pelicans Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations, Joe Dumars. Weaver! Back in our life, he spent 4 years as a Pistons GM before being relieved, I guess, last May. And then he was like working as a consultant to the Wizards. So
okay.
now he's here in New Orleans.
Hey man, turn the Wizards around. And I mean, I guess he turned the Pistons around
he
too,
helped,
but to the downward.
Yeah, well,
the thing is, it's hard to be confident when you hire a guy who went 74 and 244.
Right.
But basketball guys stay in basketball. Worst coach of the 2020s, Jim Boylan. He's still an assistant coach somewhere. Lawrence Frank once went 0-16 to start a season, got fired, became executive of the year. So even though Troy Weaver had a terrible run with the Pistons, he's still going to get a job in the NBA, and just don't let him pick the coach. It's that easy. He drafted Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, was part of the draft day trades for Beef Stew, Jalen Duren. That's literally the core of the Pistons right now. But he also drafted Killian Hayes and brought Monty Williams to the bench off the beach. Those didn't work.
Yeah.
So just let him help draft, I guess.
This is disappointing to me. Joe Dumars gets this job and just hires a guy he knows immediately. They didn't even do any interviews. He just got hired. He just got hired, and you hire a guy who did not have a lot of success.
Well, I mean, Joe Dumars got the job without an interview, it feels like.
Yeah.
There's that part. He convinced the ownership
I hate to put on the tinfoil hat, but what is going on here in New Orleans? I'm starting to think, like, there was so much talk about what are the Mavericks doing trading Luka? Are they actually trying to, like, actively tank their franchise to then relocate their franchise? Like, okay. Wait. I don't believe that with Dallas. I'm starting to believe it with what New Orleans is doing here. Like, it's already, like, it's tough for, like, to become, like, a really true basketball city. There's an uphill climb there. I get that. Football country and college football and all that in Louisiana. And obviously not a lot of success for this Pelicans team. Like, but these, they're not inspiring by any means here, these front office hirings. And they're like, are they just getting ready to move? For crying out loud?
Yeah.
I hope not, but
it's disappointing when Joe Dumars gets another job after the Pistons job and doesn't even look into the ecosystem, what's going on in the NBA world. He just hires a guy he knows.
He knows him.
And like ownership did with Joe Dumars.
Yeah.
And Benson decided, okay, we know him. Come on in. But the secondary part, even if Joe goes and does some interviews and hires somebody who's capable, I wouldn't be so disappointed. But this was literally 36 hours or whatever it was. I mean, it's very short since Joe Dumars got the job. He turns to somebody who wasn't successful in Detroit, wasn't leading the front office in Washington. He just got.
He's just a consultant.
No, they did a great job in Washington. It was not. It was not led by Troy Weaver. So it's disappointing that they don't interview some people.
Okay, well, interesting
Indeed.
You said that.
LinkedIn, anybody.
Just put up even the facade that you're interviewing people for the sake of your fan base.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would.
Well, I guess that's what they're doing in Sacramento because new Kings general manager Scott Perry, he has talked to Doug Christie, current head coach, after they fired Mike Brown this year, about the head coaching position, but he plans to speak with other candidates too. So Tess, you're going to like that. Perry said, quote, "My phone has incessantly rang for interest in this job, so I'm going to have a few more conversations in and around this job, and hopefully I can come to some sort of resolution within the next week or so." And he went on to say a lot more that we could also parse, but new GM of the Kings, Scott Perry says, "Hey, I'm not just saying we're running back with Doug. There's a lot of people calling me, Doug, so I got to talk to them and hear their visions maybe of what we could do with this team." But you got to be pumped about this.
I do.
Kudos to Scott Perry.
I do. Yes, you have to interview people. And so he's not just coming in and getting this job and saying, Doug Christie, you were decent after the firing of Mike Brown.
Yeah, I guess he was. What'd they go? 27 and 24?
27 and 24,
Okay.
10 and 14 in March and April.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It wasn't good,
No.
but it was completely Sacramento Kings fine, I guess. I think you would have been just as good keeping Mike Brown as your head coach. But anyway, they're going to see. Do you think Doug Christie will be the guy here at TK, though, or is Scott Perry going to actually, go with one of these phone calls he's getting?
No, he's probably going to go with the guy he knows. Honestly, probably be a guy he knows. That's just usually how it goes. There's no reason that it needs to be Doug Christie. They did fine, but they completely fell apart down the stretch and were losing to bad teams. They somehow won a play-in game. No, they didn't. They lost their play-in game, didn't they, this year? Yeah, so it won't be him, I don't think. And I don't think he really did anything to keep the job. It seems like maybe he was like one of Sabonis's guys, so I think that might be a question mark. I think that's a huge question mark for the Kings, period, is like, what's going to be Sabonis's future here? Will he have any sort of feedback to give with regards to the coach? Does that keep him in Sacramento, or is it kind of a package deal? Like, Sabonis is gone. One of the coaches he likes is gone. I've seen clips of Scott Perry totally trashing Zach LaVine, who he was complaining like, oh man, this guy, does he really impact winning? I got to pay him 40, 43, 45, $48 million. Now that's your team. And you're the one who's on the hook for it. So lots of questions to be answered in Sacramento. And they didn't do interviews either. They just picked Scott Perry.
Yeah, because he was there. Because he was there for 3 months once upon a time.
It wasn't a disaster for those 3 months he was here. We'll take him.
Yeah.
So who does he know? Because that's probably who will be the coach.
Perry also mentioned, I guess yesterday, in talking to the media, how there was, quote, an obvious need for a, quote, true point guard. Adding that we need to add more length and athleticism to this group to enhance some of the talent that's here. You're laughing that they need to add a true point guard because they've had a couple true point guards.
3 of them not too long ago.
Yeah, anyway.
They've got 2 who have made all-star teams.
Yes, in Fox and Halliburton. Who's the third I'm missing?
Davion Mitchell.
Oh, yes, Davion Mitchell. He's
Not an all-star,
not
but
really
he's playing well.
Yeah.
Not a true point. Whatever.
Hey, they'd happily have him
He
right
would
now.
be on this team.
Yeah. And then Perry did the classic. I always love this. Any new GM comes in, really any coach, anyone in the front office role, repeatedly stressing the need for, what's the word?
Speed.
No. What's that when someone comes in? What's the one word they always say, especially?
Defense.
No, that's good as well.
No, like
It's like a look in the mirror type thing. It's just a classic buzzword. Starts with an A.
assessment.
You're
That's
close.
good.
You're close.
Analyze.
Accountability.
Accountability.
That's a good one.
Accountability. They all say it.
They all say
They
it.
come in and say, we need accountability. And that goes for me as well. They always make sure to add something like that. I'm not just talking about the guys in the locker room. Me myself and the coaching staff. So anyway, we'll see where Sacramento goes here. We'll see who's head coaching.
We didn't talk about the worst coach in the league part of the anonymous poll yesterday.
No, I guess we didn't.
Because
Who was it? Brian Keefe?
Brian Keefe, the Washington Wizards.
how dare
Brian
you.
Keefe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask the new Pelicans GM, or what, senior VP, I guess I shouldn't call him. Troy Weaver about Brian Keefe. I don't know. It was just a strange anonymous poll because only 73 people decided to vote. That's just like half of the people who voted for MVP, 155. 73 people decided, yeah, Brian Keefe is the majority. He's the worst. Then Budenholzer, then Rivers, then Charles Lee, then Nick Nurse, then Tom Thibodeau, then Darko Rajakovic, then Doug Christie.
Who'd you say was second there?
The Bud.
Yeah. I guess around that time when they were all being asked, the Suns were faltering and falling
Doc,
apart.
number 3.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, it makes you what's the best job that's available? Suns is open. Kings is obviously coming open right now, likely. And then we've got interim jobs in Denver with Adelman, and then Isalo in Memphis.
Good point.
He seems most locked in, I would say, Isalo, just because they paid him all that money.
Yeah.
And there was some rumors that part of the reason Taylor Jenkins was let go was because they didn't want to lose Thomas Isalo to, like, I don't know, like maybe the Kings would want him, you know?
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think who in the currently in the playoffs, if they flame out here early in the first round, could be out of job. Doc Rivers
Knicks.
in Milwaukee, yeah. Tibbs, yeah, maybe. With New York if they lose.
I guess Quinn Snyder is a question mark, just because they let go of Landry Fields.
Yeah.
So the new guy might want to pick their coach.
That's fair.
Well, that's probably it. Who would you rather work for, Vivek or Matt Ishbia? Those are the two open jobs right now. That's two tough scenarios.
Wow. Oh, that is a tough one. Oh, I was gonna say Ishbia because at least he's proven that he'll just chuck money at things. Like he thinks that can fix things.
That's the best job.
Where
think about the last two guys that had that job. They're still getting paid, and they're not working there.
Yeah.
You work for 9 months and get paid for 5 years.
Yeah.
So Suns is clearly the job to get.
Sure.
Yeah, the Nuggets scenario of David Adelman, he may not have his job, I suppose, if they get fired.
Yeah.
If they get bounced, I should say.
Yeah.
I suppose. But Michael Malone worked for Vivek once upon a time.
Coming home?
No.
No, he did not have a good end to his tenure there either.
No, he did not.
All right, tonight's games. We have 3 more games on. I was confused. There was a graphic going around during one of those games I was watching last night, the broadcast, that showed like the upcoming national TV schedule, and it was like
For Thursday.
it showed one game for Thursday night. It was just showing Denver, LA
It didn't want
at 10 o'clock.
Didn't want to show the nationally televised games on another network. That's what it was.
No, that was on TNT. They were showing that graphic on TNT, but were not highlighting their 2 games tonight on TNT. It was so perplexing.
Oh yeah, I figured that
It
it
was
wasn't on TNT that after they weren't promoting it.
I know. That's
But
what you would
they
think.
are!
Yeah. So
Weird.
anyway, I got concerned for a second. I was like, why is there only one game on tonight?
Yeah.
But there's not.
There's not.
We got Knicks Pistons game 3 in Detroit. Series 1-1. Huge. Little Caesars Arena, baby. That's going to be bumping, you'd have to imagine.
Gonna be hot and ready.
That's nice. OKC Memphis. Okay.
Flex it.
Okay. Yeah, that one's on
We should
TNT.
flex.
You're
We
right.
should flex it.
Yeah, and then
God,
the one
yeah.
on NBA TV, oddly enough, is Nuggets Clippers, which has been maybe the best series so far. I think I'm not going out on a limb saying that. So yeah, I guess it's got to do with the 7 and 9:30 starts there, and a little later in LA.
It's the Thunder, I guess. I mean, it is the Thunder. I don't
It's a
know.
1-8 matchup though. I think that should be Denver, LA. I'm with Trey.
Yes, that has been
Anyway, we'll
the
be watching.
closest series. What is it? I mean, are they even?
Nah, I
Points
think it's.
wise?
I think Clippers are +1 so far.
Yeah.
Any predictions here tonight, just with these 3 games in Detroit, Memphis, and LA? We get to see the Wall in action in the playoffs.
Wow, win for the Wall.
That's right.
I think they will! Exclamation point.
Okay.
I'm starting to come around to that.
You like the shirt?
Yeah, these
Do it for these 300 fans specifically.
I like that. Not everybody else.
If I sat in that section, I would get that shirt. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Do we know what does Detroit's shirt say? That was one I didn't remember you talking about.
I don't know if they have a mantra shirt.
Yeah, can't think of it if they do. But I'm excited about that game. My God, Detroit, they're going to be so pumped for a game there, hosting
Back
a
to
playoff.
work.
Oh,
Is what
different.
theirs is. Yeah.
Back to work because they're like, hey, we haven't been here in a while.
That's right.
We took a
That's
long
good. That's
sabbatical.
It's fitting for their team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Let's hear from everybody in the stream team. Who you backing tonight? Those 3 game 3s. And we'll see if Memphis can make things interesting. And obviously, it's not pivotal game 3, but these are big game 3s. Especially for those teams at home in Detroit and LA in their series. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about those. If you're a Survivor fan, great episode last night. A little bit later at 1 p.m. Eastern over on the No Buffs YouTube account. We'll go live to talk about episode 9. Lots to break down with this one. Bring your chocolate milk if you're a fan of Survivor for that show. And otherwise we'll be here tomorrow. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Do you think that child who's now a man is in the Wall tonight?
Wow.
Clipper Bro himself.
Wow, he's a charismatic guy.
Oh man, he's got his jug. What's his jug of vodka?
Pop off.
Yeah.
It's called Pop Off.
POPOV.
Oh, Pop Off.
Pop off. I want to watch the.
Oh, I want to see that guy in the Wall tonight, man. We would pop so hard. Oh, yeah, hopefully we see him. He'll get kicked out.
So I guess that's a Russian vodka that he was having. Yeah, for sure.
What aisle can you find that in, Tass?
Listen, I know people were getting at me for the small aisles. The people who design those small aisles in department stores, they just don't know what they're doing with the numbers that they're throwing out there. It's not clear. All I want is for things to be clear. And I'm speaking specifically about it. Target.
Wow, calling him out.
Just Target. Actually, Home Depot does the small aisles pretty well.
Home Depot, they got the biggest aisles you ever see. They got 42 of the biggest aisles on earth.
But let me tell you something about the Home Depot aisles. There's two sectors to the Home Depot aisles. There's the opening sector, the front sector.
Yes.
And then there's a whole back sector.
Then there are the smaller ones.
That's true.
Yes,
Smaller ones.
yes.
They got an aisle in between their aisles. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those smaller ones are extremely clear. Beyond that aisle, between the two aisles, you know what, I guess 30 through 45, whatever they are. And when you go around Target, you see aisle number 14A. I think they throw a letter after each one. 14A, or maybe not. But anyway, they don't have good signs. They're terrible signs.
Maybe that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
Signage is important.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they're so small. We're not putting a big sign, I guess. I didn't design it.
Race the day, people.